A woman whose world had been reduced to the confines of a wheelchair after a tragic accident 5 years ago. Once a vibrant architect with dreams as bold as the skyline, Elena now navigated life through sheer willpower, her sharp mind her only weapon against the pitying glances of the world. Her husband, Victor Langford, was the epitome of billionaire excess, CEO of Langford Enterprises, a tech empire worth billions, with chiseled features, a disarming smile, and a reputation for ruthless ambition. Their marriage had been a fairy tale in the tabloids, Elena's beauty and intellect paired with Victor's wealth. But behind closed doors, it was a gilded cage. The accident that bound her to the wheelchair had also fractured their intimacy. Victor's affections had wandered long before the wheels replaced her strides. He claimed devotion, but Elena saw the truth in the late nights and the faint scent of jasmine perfume that clung to his collars. Perfume that wasn't hers. One crisp autumn evening, the Langfords hosted their annual gala at their penthouse overlooking Central Park. Crystal chandeliers cast a warm glow over tuxedoed guests and flowing champagne, a facade of marital bliss. Elena, elegant in a midnight blue gown that draped over her chair like a cape, wheeled through the crowd with practiced grace. Her dark skin glowed under the lights, her braided hair adorned with silver threads that matched her unyielding eyes. She was black, brilliant, and unbreakable, a fact Victor often forgot when it suited him. Victor arrived fashionably late, his arm looped possessively around a stunning blonde, Isabella Voss, his executive assistant. Isabella was everything Elena was not in Victor's shallow fantasies. Lithe, carefree, with legs that seemed endless in her red slit dress. Whispers rippled through the room as the pair entered, but Victor played it off with a laugh. "Just business, darling," he murmured to Elena, planting a perfunctory kiss on her forehead before guiding Isabella to the dance floor. Elena watched from her vantage point near the grand piano, her fingers tightening on the armrests. She had suspected for months the anonymous emails, the hotel charges on his statements, but tonight would confirm it. As the orchestra swelled into a sultry waltz, Victor pulled Isabella close. Their bodies moved in sync, too intimate for colleagues. Then, in a moment that sliced through the room like a knife, Victor dipped Isabella low and kissed her. Not a peck, but a deep, lingering claim right there in front of everyone, including Elena. Gasps echoed softly. A few guests averted their eyes, but most pretended not to notice, the way the elite always did for the powerful. Isabella giggled against his lips, her hands tracing his jaw. Victor's eyes flicked toward Elena for a split second, arrogant, unapologetic, as if daring her to react, to shatter in public. But Elena didn't. She smiled, a small, serene curve of her lips that hid the storm brewing beneath. "Enjoy the dance," she called out lightly, her voice steady as steel. Inside, fury ignited, but so did something sharper. Resolve. As the night wore on, Victor and Isabella disappeared into the study for a quick call. Elena waited, her mind racing. She had always been the planner, the one who mapped blueprints for skyscrapers that defied gravity. Now, she would blueprint their downfall. Wheeling quietly to the hallway, she paused outside the door, hearing the unmistakable sounds of passion muffled by oak panels. Her heart ached, but her resolve hardened. Victor thought her broken, powerless. He was wrong. The next morning, over breakfast in their sunlit dining room, Victor was all contrition, or at least the version he mustered. "It was a champagne, Elena. A mistake. Isabella means nothing." He reached for her hand, but she withdrew it gently, her expression one of quiet forgiveness. "Understand," she said softly. "We've both been through so much." He relaxed, believing her submission, and left for the office with a kiss on her cheek. But Elena was already in motion. From her home office, a sanctuary of blueprints and laptops. She began her plot. First, the finances. Victor's empire was vast, but Elena had quietly built her own safety net during their marriage. She had invested in startups, mentored young architects, and amassed a portfolio that rivaled his side hustles. Using a discreet lawyer, she initiated a forensic audit of Langford Enterprises' offshore accounts, uncovering millions siphoned to Isabella's name, gifts disguised as bonuses. Next, the leverage. Elena had kept a journal since the accident. Every late night, every lie, every whispered phone call. Digitized and time-stamped, it was a ticking bomb. She reached out to Victor's board members, old allies from her pre-accident days, with anonymous tips. Whispers of embezzlement spread like wildfire in the executive suites. Isabella, sensing the shift, grew bolder, texting Elena taunts. Asterisk, he's mine now. Wheelchair or not, you're yesterday's news. Asterisk, Elena's response. Silence, until the perfect moment. She hired a private investigator, a no-nonsense woman named Rita, who specialized in high society dirt. Rita delivered gold. Photos of Victor and Isabella in compromising positions, emails plotting to ease Elena out with a fabricated scandal about her instability. But Elena didn't leak them. Not yet. Instead, she invited Isabella for tea. The meeting was at a quaint cafe in Soho, neutral ground. Isabella arrived smug, flipping her hair as she sat. What do you want, Elena? A pity party? Elena wheeled up smoothly, her eyes locking onto Isabella's with unnerving calm. Just clarity, she replied, sliding a folder across the table. Inside, proof of the embezzlement, tied directly to Isabella's signature. Victor thinks you're his escape, but you're his liability. Walk away now, or we go public. Your choice. Isabella's face drained of color. You bitch. Careful, Elena interrupted, her voice like velvet over iron. I'm the one with the wheelchair, remember? The helpless one. But helplessness is just a perspective. Isabella stormed out, but not before Elena's phone buzzed. A transfer confirmation. Isabella had agreed to return the funds and vanish. Victor came home that evening to find Elena in the living room, a glass of wine in hand. We need to talk, she said, gesturing to the divorce papers on the coffee table. His face twisted in shock. What? After last night? Elena, You kiss your mistress in front of me, she cut in, her tone even. In our home, among our friends. But that's not even the worst part. The worst is thinking I'd stay silent. She detailed the audit, the board's unrest, the funds frozen pending investigation. Victor lunged for the papers, but Elena held up her phone, live streaming to her lawyer. Sign or lose everything. He signed, rage boiling into defeat. The divorce was swift, the settlement generous for Elena. Langford Enterprises teetered, but she didn't let it fall. She bought shares through proxies, becoming the silent power behind the throne. Victor slunk away to a smaller life. Isabella long gone to some European hideaway. Months later, at a charity event for spinal injury research, Elena's passion, she wheeled onto the stage to thunderous applause. No longer the billionaire's wife, but the billionaire herself, having launched Harper Designs, a firm revolutionizing accessible architecture. Victor watched from the back, a shadow of his former self, as Elena accepted an award. Their eyes met, and she offered that same serene smile from the gala. Plotted, it said, and won. In the end, the wheelchair wasn't her prison, it was her vantage point. From it, she saw clearer than ever. Revenge wasn't destruction. It was rebirth. And Elena Harper rose, unbroken, to claim the skyline she always deserved.